Hello, everyone. Harry here to talk about revelation of a phone call that includes an audio tape of Trump pressuring two county canvassers from Wayne County, where Detroit is located, not to do their legal duty under state law and certify the vote in favor of Biden. This is really ugly stuff. It's very much of a piece with what's been charged in Fulton County, Georgia. It probably equates to a crime under both state law and federal law. Let me give you the skinny. All right, so under the Wayne County process, there's a meeting of a four-person board of canvassers, at which meeting on November 17th, 2020, they all vote to certify the vote in favor of Joe Biden in the county. It was very strongly for Biden, although less so than in 2016. So Trump's allegations about hanky-panky were on their face already dubious. Anyway, there is a little gap between when they make a vote and when they actually sign the official papers certifying that the election in Wayne County has gone for Joe Biden, and the vote tally and the like, at which point the two Republican members of the four-person board, their names are Monica Palmer and William Hartman. William Hartman has since died, but Monica Palmer is alive, are in a car and get a call from the President of the United States, along with Ronna McDaniel, who's the head of the RNC and happens to be a Michigan resident. And it's just a vintage browbeating Trump call, totally of a piece with the recorded call. Lordy, thank God there are tapes that Trump makes to Brad Raffensperger in Georgia some weeks later. He tells them they need to withhold their votes. He tells them they will look terrible as he tells the Republicans they will look terrible if they do not withhold their signatures. He tells them that the election has been rigged and stolen. He says the same claim he makes the following day and has been making generally about Michigan around this time, that there were more voters than people, suggesting many dead people voted. Complete horseshit. But that's the claim he is confidently putting out there. And he tells them, go home tonight and don't do it, and we will pay for your lawyers. Actually, McDaniel first offers, we'll get you lawyers. And Trump says, yes, we'll take care of that. And actually, unlike Raffensperger, these two basically play ball. First, they refuse to sign the papers. They come back the next day and basically allege they were coerced and browbeaten by the Democratic members of the county body to sign. They try everything they can to wriggle out of it. They never do sign the certification, and eventually the county determines that it's enough to have the chair and vice chair, in other words, the two Democratic members, actually sign the papers. And I think there's no way around it. They lie, basically saying they just don't recall the contents of the telephone call from the president of the United States on the night of, maybe the most memorable evening of their lives, and say, vaguely, I think he was just calling to thank us for our work. So that's what they say, presumably not knowing there are tapes around. But so they totally play ball. And this one, Raffensperger from the start pushes back in Georgia, says there's nothing there. These two, they could have potentially caused trouble. And who knows? Michigan is a really vital state with plenty of electoral votes. What trouble by playing ball they could have caused. So this is in some ways an even more serious episode than with Raffensperger. There's some question about whether, or people have raised the point, does the Department of Justice and Smith, Special Counsel Smith, know about it? I think almost certainly they do. Although the indictment in the January 6th case, which charges this as a broad conspiracy, the different activity in different states, does not mention this call, and it has a fairly full-bodied account of what happened in Michigan. So not clear why it's not in there, but I think we would be naive to think that Smith doesn't have this information. All right, what does it bring up in terms of possible criminal charges? I think there are both state and federal charges here potentially against Trump. By the way, against the living elector, there may well be possibility of perjury charges and conspiracy to violate Michigan election law. In addition, under Michigan state law, it's a crime to give somebody anything of value. I'll read from it, but basically it's bribery of a public officer. This is a public officer. So anyone who shall corruptly give to a public officer any gift, gratuity, money, property, etc., to influence that person's official act or vote, that's bribery. And Trump himself, not to mention McDaniel, plainly offered an attorney to represent them, clearly something of value. So it seems a pretty straightforward case of both bribery and conspiracy to commit bribery under state law. Then in addition, on the United States side, so the big indictment in the January 6th case has several charges. One of them, the lead charge, 18 U.S.C. 371, is conspiracy to defraud the United States. We talked about that at the time, and we can talk about it more, but it's a fairly open-ended statute that makes it a crime to conspire to deprive the United States, the country, of something of value. And here would be the rightful counting and voting of the election. So in the same way that the actions recited in the indictment, say in Georgia, state a claim under 18 U.S.C. 371, it seems to me this would just as well do it. And by the way, Trump was doing a lot of stuff during this time, but just to close with a prosecutor's note, you gotta love the audio tape. So, Raffensperger is great, and this audio tape also, especially when combined with the perjurious testimony of these two guys who are one of them has died, as I mentioned, but of Monica Palmer, who's in a world of hurt. So we'll see whether Michigan legal authorities respond with an indictment here, the way Fulton County has done, and how, if at all, the Department of Justice and Special Counsel Smith intend to use this in the upcoming 1/6 trial. But it is basically up there, co-equal, as a really just incendiary act of corruption and criminal and just political, to try to call up a low-level state official and browbeat them to change the rightful result, contrary to their sworn legal duty of recognizing whom the people have voted for. It is on top of everything else, a real assault against democracy and the rule of law. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.